Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. I am Oji Akpe. Our next guest is the creative director of the eponymous fashion brand, Mai Atafo. He has had an interesting career in the fashion industry that spans different facets of design, from male suits to wedding dresses. He has built a premium lifestyle brand using his experience in marketing and branding and his love for fashion to create a synergy for the perfect success story. Mai Atafo, good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me on the
It's so
morning
nice
show.
to have you here.
It's good to be here. It's my first time, so yeah.
It is your first time on Arise?
Yeah, no, not Arise.
Okay.
On
the morning show. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I remember, I saw you the last time in April when I
Yes.
walked for the Arise Fashion Week.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience.
It was an amazing experience. It was coming back after 6 years,
Yeah.
and everyone was really, really psyched and excited to be on the platform again. And wow, we whipped out our collection in a very short time. And I find that when that happens, it's always going to be a really good collection for some reason. So it was autumn, winter, and I played on, colors like black and burgundy was the main colors that I played on. Then we had the white and blacks in grays or in checks.
Yeah.
And for the women's wear, we kind of infused pools from our bridal collection and the men's wear to create the women's wear line. And I've been doing a little bit of research on the eastern part of the country, and something that really excites me was the Isiago, which is the head of the lion.
Yes, I saw that. You have to tell me what inspired that.
To be honest, I just felt like it was really, I said the print, and I felt that there was a lot more that can happen with the idea of a lion's head. And I asked a few of my friends that were Igbo, I'm like, what does this thing mean? And they were telling me that it means like the head of the village or the head of the clan has to be the strongest person, so he's the lion, so he's the head of the lion.
Yes.
And that's really powerful. So why do we leave it to print? Why can't we take it a step further and do something more with it? So I went ahead and did embroidery with it. I went to do metallic twisted wires with it just to have the head of the lion.
Yeah.
And I thought it was autumn, winter, do a sweater, have the lion head and put Isiago. So it looks like, European or American typical college sweaters, but it was actually very Nigerian because of the lion head and
yes,
Isiago
absolutely. And how has that collection been received so far?
Very well. Off the show, I got orders immediately for the sweaters. For people overseas. They're like, I want that. I think a lot of people could relate to the fact that, that's us, in something that could be, as international as it gets, So it's been quite good. And the women's wear actually received a lot, because that was the first time I was showing women's wear about 3-4 years. Now, I always show bridal, but now I'm showing women's wear again. And it really a lot of positive response. When I did the lookbook, it was amazing how people responded to it.
The bridal lookbook, right?
For the women's wear from the Arise collection. So I shot that independently, and it was about 18 looks. And
yes, I think I saw that.
It was really nice. I used a set of twins to shoot it, and it was really, really good. It was really good.
Okay, so let's talk about the business of fashion, right? You're a creative director.
Yes, I am.
And you're only a creative director for your brand, correct?
Yes, I am.
You don't work for any other brand.
No, I do not.
Overseas, you see designers like Karl Lagerfeld. He works for Fendi, or even Stella McCartney, or even Oswald Boateng worked for Givenchy. And you don't see that happening here in Nigeria. What do you think the reason is, and how can we actually change that status quo and push?
I think the problem with us in Nigeria is that we do not like to put our money on creativity. We believe we can do it, and I think that's very wrong. And people come up and go, I am creative, but there's nothing to actually show your creative worth. There's no currency to check how creative you are. And I think, again, we like to hold our things very close to heart. Now, bringing someone in to say, come be the creative director of a segment of my brand looks like, almost, I think, and I may be wrong, it looks like we're a bit selling out. and maybe we're not as creative as we claim to be. But I think that's totally wrong. So I did a collection recently, and I worked with someone that I met online who I thought had an immense taste and style. I said, come work with me, be my next creative director for the women's wear collection that I was working on. And she did, and it was totally amazing. And I think that's the way we can move this industry forward.
Right.
So I may decide to want to go into bags tomorrow, because I have the brand name. And I can sell the bags to lovely ladies.
Yes.
But you know what? Maybe I do not have what it takes to create bags on an endless, scale in terms of design. I would like to collaborate with someone, under my brand name. And I do say, probably talk to young people here, that sometimes you actually make more if you collaborated or worked for a bigger brand,
right,
and your dreams come to life.
Right.
Do you get what I mean?
Right, right.
And you can actually feel fulfilled doing that rather than starting your own label. So I think it's going to be a tough one for us. I'm going to watch out and see who does that first. Maybe I take that as a challenge and be the first.
I mean,
but I think
this is the only way we could push
the step in the first
right.
directions. I've worked with Summer right now as co-director for my first collaboration for a women's wear line. And it's been well received. So let's see how that goes. Maybe I'll be calling on someone else to say, hey, come be my creative director for bridals and just take care of that and see how that goes.
Well, I look forward to that, Mai.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the fashion industry here. Can you really say there is a fashion industry in Nigeria? I mean, you see like overseas where you remember recently we even used that Ralph Lauren and all these people are celebrated as millennials. Can you really say that we have that, and how do you see us going to that direction?
I think the problem is that it's not organized. So there is an industry which is everyone in fashion, be it makeup, beauty, or models, or the designers themselves, or the show organizers. So there's this industry that's loose and not tight. And I think that's about time that we came together and have a format in which we do things. And it should be recognized both locally and globally.
Right.
And I think that's what the problem is. There's no entry level into fashion. You can wake up tomorrow and be a fashion designer.
Right.
You know, and I think maybe that's one of the issues that they are. And when you have a kind of like top-heavy celebrity environment where celebrities want to wear pieces, and it doesn't matter who they're wearing, they're just wearing the pieces.
Yes.
And they have a lot of people like that, they want to be influencers. They would definitely patronize anyone that can give them pieces and put the names there and put the hashtags there. Do you get what I mean? And it feels like if this person has a certain number of followers on Instagram and they're saying this and person is good, but sometimes people go to this people and get burnt. You know? So I feel that there's so many things that's making this not very, very tight industry, where we have a council or we have an association and people ask, what if I join this association? What would it do for me?
Correct.
You know, why would I want to join this association? On the other side, you have people that are trying very, very hard to put platforms out there to empower designers to be who they are. I say this to my colleagues a lot of time that you always should thank the publisher of Arise Magazine and This Day Style, and not because I'm on this program. He literally made the fashion industry what it is today by taking people and exposing them internationally, globally, at the point in time where some of them didn't even really understand what they were even doing.
Exactly.
They didn't even have outlets in Nigeria, and he took them until date. That has created the top 5 or 6 designers in this country, or top 10 designers. That's what shaped that.
I remember that. I was part of that.
And that was key exposure at no cost to any of them. I wish this happened during my time.
Where were you,
I mean, honestly, I was working somewhere at the point in time I wasn't doing fashion. But thinking about it, it happened during my time where I had exposure to go to New York and go to Paris.
Right.
And I had to do fashion shows over and over again. Yes. It will speed up your process of becoming a solid designer. You know, we should literally bow at his feet every time and tell him thank you, because that's created what we have now as a fashion industry. People, at no cost to anybody. You can't showcase in New York Fashion Week without paying tens of thousands of dollars.
We need more of that type of.
I think that, to be honest, I don't know why he did it. Do you get what I mean? But if there was a structure to what he did, where he felt like you had to be of a certain pedigree to be in this league, and that was assessed and appraised at every point in time, I think people will stand up to it. Now, we never asked what was his benefit. Is there something we could have done right to assist him in trying to make this a solid stay? I mean, I don't know. I've never had the conversation with him.
Yeah, I think that it all boils down to the government. I think
it is. I mean, we had a chat earlier, and I was saying that I don't know why Nigeria is not the production hub for fashion for the whole of the continent. And that's not only because we are like the most populous nation on the continent. It's also the fact that we are also the fashion hub of the continent. Like, we dictate the fashion for the continent.
Correct.
And we have the manpower to actually produce this. All we need is that government intervenes and just brings the expertise and the equipment we need. And we will produce garments here and ship literally from here to around the whole world, and nothing stops us from doing that. But I don't think government have looked at fashion and said this is a lucrative area. We're still thinking of how to work with oil. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's like,
and so how do you think that can change? I mean, how do you think fashion can contribute to the entire GDP of our economy
I think it can, but it starts with someone in the government. But people say we should start it, but we can't start it because people think fashion is easy. You know, I was talking to someone recently, and I want to purchase a machine that can do buttonholes as clean as possible, which adds to my finish.
Okay.
But it's going to cost me 7 million naira.
Wow.
And just those buttonholes. And that's it. Now, if I transfer the cost to my clients, they say I'm expensive. Now, if I acquire the machine, I have to do a side business where I can recoup the money for the machine by either saying, come do buttonholes with me. And that's not my core business. But I have to recoup that money because I have to get my finishing to the level. Because people travel overseas and say, your finishing is not as good as this.
Yes.
But a fusing machine is going to cost me 1.3 million naira. Buttonhole machine costs me 7 million naira. If I want to get a proper, boiler iron, costs me 1 million naira. And where's the power in the first place? I still have to get a generator and diesel to run this thing, and that's all cost on me. Do you get what I mean? And there's nothing to cushion all that. And Nigerians are descending fashion people. They want the best, regardless of what you say. And in fact, they want the best at the most ridiculous prices.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel that if these things are cushioned, if there's some way I can do my buttonholes and it comes really good, if some way I can get access to like these machines to work with them, if someone gives me working capital based on, I've been in the industry for like a solid 8 years and 11 years off and on because I was working 3 years of the 11 years. And based on consistency, you can say this person is a good candidates to elevate. And there are many people like me in the industry that have proven that they do this, they make money off it. But they can make even more with just a little bit of assistance.
Because I know currently we're not manufacturing in Nigeria. You always have to import everything.
Every single thing is imported.
Yes, I know.
We just actually make the things, the garments here, but the fabric, the thread, and the
One
needles.
of my friends, a good fashion designer, Diola Sego, and she does manufacture a few things in her basement, which makes her brand so authentic. But it costs her an arm and a leg. You can't just walk into a Diola Sego and say, I'm going to purchase any rumba, but you really have to know that this is something that she's really put work in.
Yeah.
And and that's why it's so expensive.
Yeah,
and
because everything it costs her to put those things costs a lot of money. I mean, you're talking about a machine that is 7 million naira to do one thing. Do you get what I mean? So you can imagine how many machines you need to acquire to do a lot of things.
Right.
And that cost has to go back, sadly, to the customer. So people wonder why things are expensive. They're not expensive. It's just the cost we use to produce these things. And if this was cushioned and the government saw, okay, fashion is definitely an area we can play.
Yes.
And decide to fund or even support to a large extent, I think it'll be really, really shocking how we can contribute to GDP from exports.
I heard you mention earlier about fashion influencers or brand influencers, and I think that this we had earlier a modeling lady who you watched that, and I think that it has changed the way we see models in Nigeria because I feel like you would rather have an influencer where you promote your brand than a model. Tell me, is that something that you see that could change?
Sadly,
or
but it is the truth because when you look at it, it's now going to be based on lifestyle. Everyone's come to a lifestyle brand. And when you look at, say, an actor or a singer, and they have a huge following, and they engage their followers, be it on any of the social media or even live, you want to put things on that person because people aspire to be them, okay? International people aspire to be models. And people that are not even in the industry actually aspire to the characteristics of that kind of models. I look at Naomi Campbell and say she has tenacity, she's been there for long, and she's still doing stuff. It's like, even if I'm a guy, I can say, I'll pick the traits off her, and I'll live by them. But in Nigeria, I don't know what the problem is, but it's not that organized. It feels like it's just something you play with. Being a model for a while, then you just fall off the radar and get married and life just moves on. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
You never get to a point whereby you wake up in the morning and say, I'm only waking up for $1 million in Nigeria. Do you get what I mean? So it's funny, so it's not a multinational giving you an advertising gig and they don't know you as that model. It's your agent that will fight for you and say, oh my God, she's so-and-so model, but they think, I can get another girl. My cousin is as good looking as her, and she gets the job.
Right.
Do you get what I mean? So there is that gap. And I also think that we designers sometimes are to blame because we are supposed to be fueling this. But when we do not have money, how do you make a model,
so it's all like a
supermodel? So it's just a vicious cycle. So how do I make her? Because I want to pay her a lot more, but I can afford to pay her a lot more. Do you get what I mean? Yes. So I now look for brilliant ways to have alternatives. A lot of celebrities with big names and huge followers want to model for you for absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you serious?
It's unbelievable when Fashion Week comes, how many celebrities call you and say, man, let me be on your runway, guy. You know? And it's like, oh, wow. I'm not kidding you. You can actually have a runway show with all celebrities at zero cost to you, rather than pay models anything. So that's even more of even a competition.
Oh, that's insane, Mai.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Wow, okay. So let's talk about how do you stay relevant? I mean, you've been doing this for how long now? And you're still, everyone, if anyone hears Mai is coming here or Mai's doing a show, it's like, wow, a bag. I really want Mai. So can you tell
sound like
our
a typical
audience
Nigerian is God's grace.
It can't
that's
be.
a typical
It's got
Nigerian
to be
answer.
a combination of ethics and all of that. So
I think first of all, it's a lot of hard work. And, you know, I grind like really hard. Like I'm up in the morning and in the office by 8:30, and I leave there sometimes 10, 11, sometimes 12. When it's Fashion Week, I'm there to the AM, and I'm working. And like, I mean, in my office, they say you're a workaholic. When do you rest? I'm like, there's a reason why it's called rest in peace. When you rest forever, you know, so I rest when I die. But I think it's a lot of hard work, number one. Then number two, you need to understand your environment. The environment is very, very dynamic, especially in Nigeria. And you have to know how you tap and where you tap into. You know, putting clothes on celebrities on the runway used to be on the red carpet used to be something I used to do before. But now I say, no, you need to pay me my money to wear my garments to be on the red carpet because I have achieved a certain level as a brand that I do not need you to do it. You need to be of a certain level. I know that I'm going to get something off that. Is there equity or purchase of the garment? You know, before I do it, so I won't just give anyone my garment to be on the red carpet. No, I've paid my dues.
You've paid your
dues. You know,
dues.
as I say, I've paid in full. So I think that there are little levers that I use to push the brand. So there are people that wear my pieces, be it Ebuka, be it Ike, and they're on national TV or African TV, and people are watching them, and it says dressed by me, and that adds to the brand. The activities you do, you know, if you're going to do a fantastic show and end up with Beauty and the Beast, and there's like, oh my God, who did that? Who was that person? And it comes back to you. So everything is well thought through.
Right.
I do not think that I had the plans all worked out and say this is going to give them like 10% more awareness or 50% more affiliation or anything, but it always tends to happen. So I always say when you get the opportunity, try to kill it.
Kill it.
Because you never have a second chance, you know? So I remember Arise, and you know, there was OG and there was Oluchi, and like, oh, please, can you girls walk from it? Like, yes, I'm like, great, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you guys twins and put you in the same place.
That was an amazing
And I reordered my whole arrangement just to fit that.
Yes,
and
I remember
people
that.
use both you, but it was like individual, and then they work. I'm like, the power of the two of them together in this suit would work for me. And I had to rechange everything the morning before, you know?
You've done an amazing job, really.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to say thank you, yes. I remember when you first approached me, I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. Really, really. Thank you so much for joining us in this segment.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
It's been super exciting.
Thank you. It's time now for a short break.